Relations between Cameroon and the Gentleman's Club is 25 years old. Today, Web Talk takes you to the Ministry of External Relations to meet the Minister Delegate in charge of relations with the Commonwealth to discuss on relations between Cameroon and the Gentleman's Club within the last 25 years. Minister Felix Mayu is our guest on this edition of the program. Hello, sir. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Sir, what is Cameroon actually celebrating when we talk of 25 years of relations between Cameroon and the Commonwealth?
We are celebrating 25 years of a strategic partnership, 25 years of a constructive partnership with one of the most prestigious organizations in the world. You call it the Gentleman's Club. And that is not called as such by accident. It's because it's a group of countries who work on the basis of some core values and principles. These core values include good governance, respect for the rule of law, protection of human rights, tolerance, mutual understanding, protection of the environment, and so on and so forth. Let me take the last principle, tolerance and mutual understanding. When you live in a society where you have to deal with a variety of issues and different types of people with different views, that tolerance and mutual understanding underpins whatever you need to do to generate cohesion, harmony in the society. The Commonwealth has so many members from diverse ethnic groups, diverse origins. It has the full range of age groups, but the commonality is that they talk, discuss on the basis of this core principle, how you promote them. Good governance, as I said, human rights, the rule of law. So in 25 years, how has Cameroon worked around or with these core values and principles? Well, let me just deal with them in a few areas: the political, the judicial, and perhaps the economic and social area. From the political perspective, you may remember that our electoral process, which underpins all the efforts towards good governance, is highly an effort between the Commonwealth and our government. ELECAM is the brainchild of the Commonwealth because ELECAM was presided by Honor 1 and Honor 2, which were all put in place with the technical assistance of the Commonwealth. And even as we speak, ELECAM is still constructively engaged with the ELECAM in trying to strengthen not only the institutional capacity, but also the human capacity, particularly as it concerns organizing elections in crisis zones, in difficult to access areas. Let's move away from elections, deal with human rights. Our National Commission on Human Rights and Freedoms was put in place thanks to the support. Support in terms of technical assistance, support in terms of human resource capacity development was put in place with the help of the Commonwealth. Now talking about the judicial sector, which is quite important, two elements. The first one is the Commonwealth helped us to computerize our penitentiary data. And within this process, the penitentiary services were moved from the Ministry of Territorial Administration to the Ministry of Justice. Perhaps I may need to explain to the public what is the impact. When the penitentiary services were under the Ministry of Territorial Administration, they were all managed by the governors, the SDOs, and the DOs, which meant that it was dealt with as an administrative issue, not an issue of law, justice, which also meant that somebody could be waiting trial and forgotten in detention. It was difficult to be able to give precise statistics on how long people have been in detention how long people have been in jail. But now that it's been brought under the Minister of Justice, which amongst other things has the responsibility to promote, protect human rights. It is difficult for anyone to be held now in detention without the period of his detention being known and all of that. But the second and perhaps equally important aspect is the harmonized code, criminal procedure code. As you know, if you're familiar with it, it's about 90% habeas corpus based. And it was drafted with the strong assistance of the Commonwealth, particularly through the Commonwealth Lawyers and the Commonwealth Magistrates Association. And you have a lot of input from the common law in this code. I guess if you talk to any of your lawyer friends or magistrates, they will tell you of the concept which didn't exist in the other 8 regions of our country, the concept of the cross-examination, which gives the parties the possibility to question whoever is accusing them of whatever. So you see the Commonwealth has done quite a bit. Okay, now, beyond that, the Commonwealth deals with some bread and butter issues. In the sense that the Commonwealth brings on board the technical assistance to help us strengthen our business climate through the Commonwealth Enterprise and Investment Council, which was previously called the Commonwealth Business Council. And they have sustained engagement with the business sector in Cameroon. And as we speak, they have an engagement with the Cree Report to help them sell their amenities, their facilities, and their know-how. Now, there are other things which bring most of this together and how you deal with certain issues of topical interest. You know our country is dealing with crisis in 3 regions. And beyond what I mentioned concerning the need to develop tolerance and mutual understanding, the Commonwealth is also working with our government in terms of how you prevent and combat violent extremism. As you know, that is one of the major issues we have to deal with now in terms of strengthening the capacity of the competent services. How you do that while respecting human rights. How you do that within the context of the law and order.
That was just about to take me to this question, that this 25 years of cooperation is being celebrated at a time when Cameroon is facing the crisis in the English-speaking region, that is the Northwest and the Southwest, and the Boko Haram crisis in the far North region. And we have seen reports from some of the international organizations questioning the respect of international humanitarian law by our defense forces. How is the Commonwealth coming in to improve on this situation and give the image that Cameroon is building with the Commonwealth?
First of all, let me, as a matter of responsibility, correct 1 or 2 things. Yes, the organizations have made some comments about the comportment of our forces of law and order, but it should be said and must be said that our forces of law and order perform on the ground under very difficult circumstances, but as much as possible, they do everything in their power to work within the precepts of a good conduct based on humanitarian law, the laws of war, and all of that. So I personally don't take exception to the statement, the blanket statement that they don't respect. There may be 1 or 2 bad cases. It happens everywhere, in every country, in every crisis. But you know those who don't know or don't respect the rules of law of war. You know them, the separatists. But let me backpedal a little to focus on this issue of how the Commonwealth is working to help the government deal with the crisis. It is the primordial responsibility of the Cameroon government to solve this problem. of the Cameroonian people to solve this problem. All the Commonwealth can do is support us, accompany us with wise counsel, with technical know-how, and they're doing that quite well. The Commonwealth has brought its leverage to bear on our efforts to promote dialogue, but as you know, we are dealing with a multi-dimensional problem, and whose solution is multi-dimensional. So the Commonwealth works in various dimensions. I mentioned the preventing and combating violent extremism, but there's also the effort to help us accelerate and strengthen our process of decentralization, which is key to solving at least the problems of the North and South region, bringing the administration closer to the people, recognizing the specificities. As you know, we're a diverse country, but that diversity in essence is a source of strength. So the Commonwealth, through the Commonwealth Local Government Forum, has been helping us build capacity, institutional and human, for a very long time, since the Cameroonian people decided that Cameroon would be a unitary, decentralized state. So, from that perspective, the Commonwealth is doing a lot, but the Commonwealth also is working with other international partners to help us, Cameroonian people, contain this unfortunate situation. That is why you remember that the Secretary General of the Commonwealth led a tripartite mission to Cameroon, which included the Secretary General of Francophonie and the President of the African Union, which is a recognition of the fact that there are many facets to this problem. But as we celebrate, we're also celebrating the vision of a person, the foresight of a person, the foresight of the head of state, who, when he came to office, Cameroon, no doubt, recognized and tried to internalize his bicultural nature domestically. But at that time, in a bid to root that feeling into Cameroonians, we did, as a country, in our diplomatic action, adhere to any organization which was language vital, by then deciding that we would now actively affirm, project on the international scene of bicultural nature, the identity of Cameroon, which he, as head of state, incarnates and personifies. So there's a lot to celebrate. I could go on and on and on, because the Commonwealth, in its constructive engagement with the country, touches nearly every sector of our national life. The Commonwealth helps us deal with the soft elements of living together, not necessarily the hard elements. The Commonwealth will not provide you with money to build a road, but they will provide you with engineers who know how to build the road. They will provide you with experts who know how to negotiate loans. They will provide you with experts who know how to maintain roads, even though they're not the one providing the money for the roads.
Those examples takes us to this question. How would the common man be able to visualize what the Commonwealth has done in 25 years in this cooperation in Cameroon? How should we have seen Commonwealth clubs, we've seen a whole department at the ministry dedicated to the Commonwealth, means that the Commonwealth is actually very present in several aspects that I've just noted. But how should the common man perceive the Commonwealth in action?
Okay, let me start by the common man who is a student who has gotten a Commonwealth scholarship. He has then spared his parents from spending much money on his education. Let me start by the common man who has a sister who has been a victim of female genital mutilation. He has benefited from the fact that the Commonwealth has worked with our civil society to eradicate that from our society. I would even go down to something which most of you will be surprised about. The Commonwealth worked with a small civil society organization through the Commonwealth Foundation to eradicate jiggers from certain parts of our country. I know most of the young people don't know what jiggers are, but it was a very annoying illness. To show that the Commonwealth does things, which affect the normal person, the ordinary person. Most of the activities of the Commonwealth is like sowing the seed, okay? Watering the seed for it to sprout as a multiplier effect on other aspects of the society. So you may ask me, how does the common man benefit from the respect of rule of law? Well, the answer is obvious. You cannot be abused by an administrative officer or a police officer without having a recourse. That's what the Commission on Human Rights and Freedoms do. You may ask, what does it do to a common man if the Commonwealth works with the Cameroon business community? Well, when the business environment is sane, business prospers, jobs are created, people get employment, and you have a multiplier effect on all aspects of national life. So the Commonwealth doesn't deal with the hard issues which catches the eye immediately, but the Commonwealth deals with those soft issues which change minds, which change mentalities, and they are much more sustainable because it is on that basis. As you know, development, first of all, is changing the minds. So it's education, it's professional training, it's refresher courses. It is helping the Cameroonians inculcate the notions of transparency, of accountable government, because accountability should not be looked at as a responsibility of the other person. It is a common responsibility. Transparency starts with each and every one of us. It is not just the business of the other person. That is the effort. That is the work which the Commonwealth has been doing and continues to do and will continue to do as we celebrate the 25th anniversary.
As we close this interview, Mr. Minister, what is the word of hope you are giving us?
My word of hope is that Cameroonians should celebrate knowing that we are partners with an organization who is geared and focused on making sure that all of its members, all of its people have a bright future. So the Commonwealth is working on the topical issues, for example, cyber criminality. The Commonwealth is working on the topical issues like the blue economy, the oceans, which have a lot of potential for growth. The Commonwealth is working on the basis of its core principles because, as you know, the effort towards improving human rights is a lifetime effort. The effort towards improving the rule of law is a lifetime effort. Good governance is a lifetime effort. So we should be confident that we have cause to celebrate. The members of what you just called the Gentleman's Club. Perhaps I should add, because there are ladies here, the Ladies and Gentlemen's Club.
And thank you, Mr. Minister, for accepting to be our guest on Web Talk. And with that, we've come to the end of this edition of the program. Thanks for watching. I'm Teke, inviting you to like, share, and subscribe to CITV Web.